It's a pleasure, a privilege, and an honor to be chatting now with the mayor of Dalton, Pennsylvania's sister community in England, Mayor Nick Perie of Dalton in Furness. How do you do, Mayor Perie?
Hi, Bill. How are you?
I'm fine, too. Thank you. And thank you for allowing us to have this conversation today. I know it'll be of interest to everybody here on this side of the Atlantic and to everybody on your side of the great ocean. Your American sister community, the borough of Dalton, is located about 8 miles north of the city of Scranton in the county of Lackawanna, in the northeast corner of the state of Pennsylvania, in the middle Atlantic region of the United States. Where is Dalton in Furness? What is Cumbria? What are the levels of government in Cumbria? And how are those levels expected to change in the near future? I hope I didn't hit you with too much there.
No, that's absolutely fine, Bill. That's not a problem at all. I think what I'll do, I might break that question down into little sub-questions, if I may. I think in Britain or the UK, most counties that we have will be like the equivalent to the states in the US. There are 3 levels of local government in each of the counties. All 3 levels have different levels of responsibility. For example, the biggest, as in Cumbria, has the county council, and they run the fire service for the whole county, as an example. The next level is a district or a borough council, which organise services such as refuse removal, and they have planning departments. And there are 6 of these in our county of Cumbria. And finally, we have the last level, which are town and parish councils. And Dalton's one of 266 in our county of Cumbria.
One of the levels is a borough, am I correct?
That's correct.
Which one is the borough? Is that Dalton in Furness?
No, Dalton in Furness is a town.
Okay.
But we're located within the Borough Council area.
Okay. Our Dalton is chiefly a rural farming, crafting, and residential community with a population of over 1,200 as of the 2010 census. What is the population of your Dalton, and how would you describe the region's economic and environmental life?
Crikey. Well, I think we've got between 8,000 and 9,000 residents in Dalton in Furness currently. We are 14 miles from the beautiful Lake District, which is a World Heritage Site, and we're about 5 miles from the sea on the other side. I think predominantly at the moment, we could be classed as a feeder town to Barrow and to Ulverston. We do have some organisations within, some businesses within Dalton, but primarily people do travel to work.
Do you have a lot of rural environs near or around Dalton and Furness as well? Woods, fields, meadows, as we do here?
Yes, we do. We've got some absolutely fantastic scenery. Unfortunately, due to COVID and lockdown, people were still allowed to go out exercising. And I think that made our walks more popular, and people have taken advantage of that in the local area. We've got 5 named walks that I can think of, and lots of other walks that take us around the different areas surrounding us.
Would you chiefly label Dalton and Furness as a metropolitan community, a rural community, or a suburban community?
It's a bit of a difficult one, that, Bill. I would say more rural, but I think things are changing over a slow period of time within Dalton.
Our Dalton was first settled in 1801, grew to be an important trading and mercantile center throughout the 19th century, and was officially incorporated as Dalton Borough in 1895. Your Dalton has a history that is ancient. Can you give us a summary, some of the highlights of that history?
Dalton is an ancient market town. It appeared in the Domesday Book, which was written in 1086. And although the name Dalton is much older, coming from the Vikings, and it means quite literally a town in the Dale. Dalton was the medieval capital of Furness for hundreds of years, and had very close links to the nearby Cistercian Abbey, which is called Furness Abbey, which resulted in our historically important castle being built in the 1300s as a courthouse for the abbot. and that's located in Dalton as well.
What is the Dalton Castle? You mentioned that, but can you tell us more about it? Is it medieval?
Yeah, it was built in the 1300s. We call it a castle, but it's actually a peel tower. I'm not quite sure whether you know what that is, but it's a fortified building basically in Dalton, located at the top end of Dalton and near St Mary's Church. But we call it Dalton Castle. Fondly referred to it, and very proud of it. It acts as a bit of a small museum about the people's lives, so we can have a look back and see the type of things that they used in ages gone by. But there are plans to make it a bigger museum, and all encompassing really. The peel tower or the castle was used by the local abbots as an area where they upheld the laws at the time. If people didn't, they could get sentenced to spend a period of time in the jail, which is in the cellar, for want of better words, of the building. And you can still actually see them through the gaps in the floorboards. It's quite fascinating. And there's an area where you can actually look into it. Unfortunately, you can't go down there because it's unsafe at the moment.
And what is the South Lakes Safari Zoo?
Right, the South Lake Safari Zoo was opened in, if I'm right, about 1994. Houses various kinds of animals, from rhinos to tigers to a whole range of different monkeys and things like that. And it's one of the local crowd pullers, and has recently been overtaken by a new set of management and improved. Yeah, it's at the top end of Dalton.
Are there any other special places of interest or attractions that you would like to mention?
Yeah, I'd like to mention I have mentioned St Mary's Church in Dalton. I think that's another historically significant building within the town. You've got the castle, and a small stone throws away, if I can say that, Bill, is St Mary's Church. Now, the current church was built in 1883 to 1885, I think. It's made of sandstone, and it's in a 14th century Gothic style, which makes it quite an imposing building, to be quite honest with you. It was designed by Perie and Austin, who were local designers and architects. But it was believed that on the same site that church stands on, other churches stood there since the 12th century, and some believe the 8th century. So it's a historically significant part of the town. And the building is a beautiful building, which also houses the grave of one of our famous sons, which was George Romney, who is buried there. He was born in 1734. George Romney was a famous artist. He moved from Dalton to Kendal, which is a town about 40 miles away. Then he went to London after getting married, but went to London to try and make fame and fortune, and was regarded as in the same bracket as Gainsborough and other artists of similar ilk. Then he moved back to Kendal and back to Dalton, and he passed away in 1802. So that's quite a significant point as well about Dalton.
Yes, and George Romney, by the way, was an ancestor of Mitt Romney, who ran for the presidency here in the United States in 2012.
Okay.
Did you know that? You probably did.
No, I know Mitt Romney, but no, I didn't know that. But thank you for telling me, Bill.
And Mitt Romney's father's name, who was also in politics here in the U.S., was also named George Romney.
Wow.
So that's a line that's important both in your country and ours.
Excellent. Brilliant.
What recreational activities do your citizens enjoy? Do you have park, sports fields, arenas?
Dalton is quite a small town. We don't have arenas or anything like that. We do have a number of play areas for young children, but people enjoy the surrounding countryside and some of the five plus walks that I've alluded to already, Bill. We've got, as I've said, we've got the Lake District on our doorstep. So you've got the Old Man of Coniston, which is a popular climb. You've got Skiddaw, which is quite nice to visit. You've got Lake Windermere, which provides opportunity to sail and other places like Ulls. I don't know whether you've heard any of these names, so I'm just going to reel them out. Ullswater, that's big on sailing, etc. The whole of the Lake District really depends where you want to go and what you want to do. Whether you want to do climbing or whether you want to be a bit more sedate and do a bit of easy walking, or whether you want to do some hard walking. There's a range for everybody there, and obviously that's not just for people in Dalton, but we're talking the whole country really. I think as well you've got other things that people like to be involved in. I mean, we do have our own football club, which is reasonably well supported by the community. We have our own cricket ground, which again offers, has a lot of support from the local community. And we also have like the junior leagues as well, which I've tried to promote and support. So you've got a rugby league club, which is a bit like your American football without the pads, so to speak. And they're quite big in the area. I know the children really enjoy being involved in it, but also that they get to play from other people from other towns or in other localities as well, which is great. Which expands them as well, allows them to, expand their view on life. But I think, people mainly in the UK have a range of different hobbies, and I can't really pin it down to any one thing. I've noticed people like to go to watch the rugby matches. I've noticed them, they like to go and see the cricket especially if it's on a Sunday afternoon, it's nice weather. But I can't honestly pinpoint there's a one recreation that everybody would jump to automatically. Some people like to relax and unwind, doing other things, so they'll kind of stay at home. Although actually COVID at the moment has, I think, made everybody want to get out more now. So we'll see where we go. Rugby, there's two codes of rugby. One's rugby union, which you may be familiar with, because they have the Sevens team as well. That's held in certain parts of Cumbria. That code is played. In Dalton, it's rugby league, which is a separate code. So the rules are slightly different, but very enjoyable to watch all the same. Actually, even more enjoyable to play. So, I played rugby union when I was growing up.
You did?
I played rugby league. Yeah, I did. But a long time ago now. I'm getting on a bit now.
How did you do?
But
did you do well?
Oh, yeah, I was all right. Yeah, I was all right. I wasn't bad. I wasn't bad. Although I must have done something right, because now I'm getting older. I feel all my old injuries a lot more.
Speaking of schools, as we did, what kind of educational facilities do you have there?
Yeah, we have a whole range of primary schools. I'll just name a few if I may.
Please.
Newton School, which is outside of Dalton, which is a small village, about a mile away from Dalton, or half a mile. We've got Nelson Street School, which opened in 1884. We've got a Catholic school, which opened in 1880, but was replaced by a more modern Catholic school, Our Ladies of Rosary, in 1972. And then just up the road from where I live is St. Mary's Primary School. And that really fosters for children from what we class as nursery age. And I'm struggling to remember the age groups, so bear with me, please, Bill. But it's from young age kids till about 12, up to 12. And then there's one main secondary school, we call it, in Dalton, which is Dowdale's. And Dowdale's opened in, I think, 1929, but has expanded, changed names slightly. It's gone to a mixed school now, rather than just being a one-sex school. Have great links with engineering and amateur dramatics, more regionally and nationally in some cases as well. They've got a very good rugby league team, or they did have, who won the county championships on quite a number of occasions. I'm very proud to say. And, they're a big part of the community. In fact, all the schools are, to be honest with you. Doesn't matter what age range they are. We don't actually currently have a college as such in Dalton, but we have nearby Barrow, which has a sixth form college for people who are 16 to 17, and one of the colleges in Barrow on Channel side has an affiliation with the University of Cumbria. So a little bit of travelling, but not too much.
Nick, we have an old train station here, and the railroads played an important role in our development, specifically with a railroad company called the DL&W. Did the railroads play any large part in the history of your community?
Yeah, they did indeed. I mean, to be honest with you, I think, as I might have alluded to already, over 100 years, we were one of the centres of iron ore mining. Now, that was done to a certain degree, but when the railways actually arrived in 1846, it opened it up to more mass producing, and that's really when the kind of in the late 19th century, when the mining industry really flourished the most. In fairness, unfortunately, all good things come to an end. So we haven't got the mining. We've got the tunnels underneath. I'm told, reliably, but that we haven't got any mining as such in the area now. Now, to be honest with you, we're more of a residential area, and like I said, there are a number of businesses that do flourish in Dalton. I wish there were more personally, but I think we're at a cusp in our evolution, shall we say.
Does that suggest that you have plans for enhancement, community development, that sort of thing?
Well, I think it's at the moment we've got a scheme that we've potentially won some money from, which is it's quite a large pot of money, and the nice thing about it is the community can put their ideas in about what they want to see, what they want to do, and from that, certain ideas will match the rules of the scheme, and we'll perhaps move into another era in our history, really.
Both communities are engaged in that kind of activity. Of course, a lot of them today, I guess, are with the challenges of the 21st century. Nick, do you have your own police force and fire companies? You probably do in a community that size.
Right. In Cumbria, the fire service is run by the Cumbria County Council. The fire service in Dalton existed for over 130 years. Unfortunately, I can't remember the date where it stopped. There was decisions made, and there was cost-cutting exercises, and it was decided that the same service could be provided from elsewhere, which is currently either Barrow or Ulverston, which is another town nearby, and they're supposed to be able to respond within minutes. So
are you serviced by Cumbria then, not necessarily just by the town of Dalton and Furness?
No, I mean, the three levels of government all come together. So Cumbria County Council is top end. They'll run the things like their fire service, as I've already said. The police service is actually separate altogether, and we have had a police station in Dalton that closed down. We actually have a room in Dalton, a police room, with one PC and one what we call a PCSO, which is like not quite a police officer, but is.
What is the police room? What is that exactly? Is that a building, an office in a building? What is that?
That's actually in Dalton Community Association. It's in what used to be called the Drill Hall, which is now called the Centre for All, and they have a room where they can come down and get out in the community. We have had to wait recently for a long time for a police officer to be in Dalton, and hopefully we'll get more. But at the moment, it's a bit scary.
It sounds like it must be a peaceful community. Am I right?
I think, like anywhere, Bill, to be honest with you, we do have our problems. I'm not going to gloss over the fact that there are issues within the area, but in the main, having personally travelled around the country and lived in quite a number of areas within England, I find it one of the more peaceful areas of the world, shall we say. Okay. So I don't have any problem with walking around at night and by myself or anything like that. And there are places where I have lived which have far bigger problems, and perhaps you wouldn't feel as comfortable, shall we say.
We have major public events here in Dalton, Pennsylvania. For example, the annual Fireman's Carnival. Do you have any important public events there that you'd like to mention?
Christmas, I think, is basically the one that I really want to highlight at the moment. We've got a reputation of being the Christmas capital of Furness, because I'd like to think that we put on a really good show every year. And, that basically starts with switching on the lights throughout the town at Christmas. That's at the start of December. There are a lot of other smaller events which are run by local organisations. So we've got the annual Christmas Tree Festival, which attracts visitors from all over the country, and that's for the whole month of December. In which case, St. Mary's Church, which I've mentioned previously, they have over 55 Christmas trees decorated on a different 55 Christmas trees decorated on a different theme each year, and are displayed in the historic church. Personally, I find it very atmospheric, and it is very popular, attracting up to about 5,000 visitors over the month into the town. So that's pretty impressive, to be honest with you. We also we do also lay the wreaths in November to Remembrance Sunday, which is for the fallen in the First and Second World Wars, and that's well supported by the community as well. We have previously had medieval markets, but it is something that will come along with this Borderlands money, hopefully as well. People are talking about bringing it back and adding other things to it. I mean, I personally think that Dalton would be a great place to have a classic car show. Because you've got the background of the older buildings. Let's have some really good, nice cars there as well. Why not? Let's bring the rest of the community into the town.
What is your climate like where you are? What is the weather like? We have the impression here that it's cold and gray and foggy. Is that true?
Well, at the moment, cold and grey is probably all right as I'm looking out the window. But no, not foggy. No, a lot of people have got the impression that it's foggy because of all the mills and things. But perhaps years ago, maybe, but not now. I think our climate generally is we do have a lot of rainfall because we're in the county that unfortunately doesn't have a particularly warm period. So we do have a large amount of rainfall, but when it's really good, it's really good. Do you know what I mean? But no, for example, today we're about 10 degrees, 11 degrees. It's been fine.
Celsius. Right?
Sorry?
Celsius.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Celsius, Bill, yeah. Yeah. For most of the day, it's been fine, but cloudy. And then we've had a number of short rainbows just recently in the last hour or two. But I think the forecast is the same for the whole weekend, to be honest with you. But like I say, it's nothing compared to what you guys have gone through just recently. So,
Nick, we have a primary election coming up in Pennsylvania and, of course, here in Dalton in May. Right. What is your electoral system like there from the standpoint of primary elections, general elections? What is the setup there, and for whom do you vote?
Right, the general elections are for local MPs within Cumbria and the country. I think I'm right in saying there's every 5 years. And we've just recently had an election, and I can't remember the year, whether it was last year or the year before. But that's when we vote for our MP in the local area. And currently it's a gentleman called Simon Fell, who's our local MP. The town council, which I've said is the last level of local government within the town itself, have mayor's elections every year, and that's in May.
Do you have an election coming up soon?
No, for the town council, our next election is in 2 years' time, and it lasts for about 4 years. Borough council elections are every 4 years as well.
From the standpoint of more precisely zeroing in on your locality in Britain, are you near any large metropolitan center that most Americans be familiar with, like Manchester or London or Birmingham?
Right, okay. I think the nearest metropolitan centre will be Manchester, but that is a good hour and a half in the car away from us. The nearest city to us is a place called Carlisle, which is at the north end of Cumbria, and that's a small city, is Carlisle. But so Manchester is the nearest city, really, metropolitan city, I would say. Absolutely.
I think Manchester was a departure point too, over the 19th and 18th centuries for people coming to the United States from Britain. Am I right about that?
Sure, yeah. People did leave from Manchester in the area as well as other ports within the country. Obviously, Manchester was quite a centre for trade in the 18th and 19th century with the Industrial Revolution, and a lot of products from America and other places came into the country through that route. But mainly it was made possible because they built the Manchester Ship Canal from Liverpool to Manchester. So the boats could sail in past Liverpool and carry on straight. So that made that possible, really. And obviously there still is a very nice quayside in Manchester, which is still busy, but obviously is less used now, really.
Nick, how did our communities become sister communities? Do you know?
Well, I've never actually been told, and it was just before my time, to be honest with you. I joined the council 20 years ago, and I had 1 year out in between that time. But previous to that, and I think Mayor, is it Ranston from Dalton? Mm-hmm. And one of our mayors got together and agreed that we should be a twin town, really.
Okay, so it happened before your time.
It did just before my time, and I think the interesting thing is that the exact term. When we first became twin towns, we kind of agreed that we should share information and resources or whatever, basically. And I personally, on a personal note, I feel that we should have closer bonds. Anyway, I was talking to Gregory earlier, and I have a sister in America. Sister-in-law, and she absolutely loves it. I mean, she's from near Windsor, but she absolutely loves it. And because I've been a mayor 3 times in Dalton, and each time I have kind of tried to look over the waters and stretch out a hand. But I think it's something that we should try and build on for the future, because I think we have got some similarities, but we've got an ideal opportunity to learn off each other as well.
Absolutely.
I'd like to say that although this year, because of COVID, there isn't a chance to come over, I will be coming over as soon as I possibly can, either next year or the year after. I'm definitely going to come over, and because I want to meet the great people of Dalton, Pennsylvania, and to look around and soak it all in. I mean, I believe you've got some great pathways and cycleways that we can use. I've seen the overview of the town on Dalton Posting, where it pans around, and I think it looks absolutely gorgeous, to be honest with you.
We have a trail system you would love. The Countryside Conservancy has done a fantastic job of creating walking trails for the people of this region.
Right, yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you if you plan to come for a visit soon.
Well, like I said, COVID unfortunately has put a stop on everything, hasn't it? And I don't think we're allowed to travel to America. But I think within the next 2 years, I personally will definitely be coming over to visit, and I'd like to meet up with you all. To be honest with you, I mean, I've made some good friends in the fire service over there. And I'd like to meet everybody and basically just get the feel of the town, And but I would like to see us over a period of time building stronger relationships. And it doesn't have to be governmental, It can be heritage, can't it? It can be the arts. It can be anything,
Right.
And I do know that there's a big push on at the moment within Dalton to regenerate the arts and the media and things like that. Hey, we should share stuff. Why not? Let's go for it.
Thank you for your time. Mayor Nick Perie of Dalton and Furness, our sister community in England, thank you for your time with us today. From all of us in Dalton, Pennsylvania, to all of you in Dalton and Furness in England, best wishes, and from across the Atlantic, our ardent affection.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that.
Thank you.